What's up, everybody? Matt Malatesta here in the VYPE podcast room with none other than Russell Shepard, the VYPE OG, on the very first cover in the history of VYPE. From Cy Ridge, goes to LSU, goes to the NFL. We're going to just chop it up, just talk about the life of an athlete who turns entrepreneur.
Yes, sir, I appreciate it.
All right, so, people don't realize, or I guess people do realize, you had Vince Young, and then after that, it was you.
Yeah.
You were the number 3 player in the country, in number 1 quarterback in the country. What was it like just with all of the accolades and all of the hype around it? Hype around you over the last 2 years of high school?
Matt, thinking about it now, it's a little overwhelming, thinking about all the things that come with being at that age, with all that attention on you. At the moment, I enjoyed it. I had a heck of a time. I mean, I had the fortunate enough to play all 3 levels, high school, college, and pros. And still to this day, high school is the most amazing experience I've been on with my athletic journey. If you talk to anybody else, you talk to Tyrann Mathieu, you talk, to a Jameis Winston, everybody points back to those high school days. So it seems to be special across the board.
So we didn't know the story, but you have to, we were just talking about this. Tell the story of why LSU, why you went there. And I'm not sure that people know the story. Right. You just told me, and I've never heard this story.
Right. So my wife, Marion Shepard, my girlfriend at the time, she was 2 years senior to me, and she attended LSU in 2007, the year they won the national championship. So that was my junior year, I believe, of high school. So before then, I was always a Texas kid. Obviously, the connection to Vince Young, being from the Houston area, Texas A&M, all those things. I always knew about the Texas, history, heritage. So after her going to LSU and me spending time up there for a year or so before they even started recruiting me, because they wanted later bigger schools to come to, in terms of offering me and really jumping on my train. But she went there. I was up there, fell in love with the culture. I was up there helping her move into her freshman dorm. I was at the parade ground when the school won the national championship. It was just amazing experience. So when they came knocking, it was an easy sell. At that point in time, she was a recruiting coordinator. Well, she was one of the recruiting young ladies at the school. She kind of told them about our relationship. And from that point, I was a Tiger all the way.
But nobody knew that.
Yeah. Yeah, for 2 years, for sure for a year. No one on the coaching staff, none of the players, nobody knew that me and her were dating. And I kind of wanted to keep it that way. I was kind of sneaking on. I was a junior in high school going to a college campus on the weekends. So didn't want to have too much attention on me at that time.
Well, I can imagine Texas or USC or whoever's like, oh, yeah, I mean, we got this guy. We got him. And they didn't have him.
No, 100%. I definitely think Texas was a little surprised.
Yeah.
Coach Norton at USC and all the other coaches. I mean, once they found out that LSU had the love of my life, I think I committed going into my senior year. I committed before the senior year even started. So from my relationship with her, my early commitment, I think everybody got the picture.
You talk about, you're right, high school is different because it's the people you grew up with. Right. And then you have this success and, it's just so exciting. The community is just rallied around you. What is it about? What's the best memory of high school?
Man, so many great memories, brother. That's a great question. I would definitely say one of the biggest is receiving an award at the Houston Touchdown Club. But that's a huge honor, being able to be a part of that alum. So many great players have come through that, that organization, to just be recognized for their seasons, their careers. That was one of the big ones, winning that event. Obviously competing in the Texas State playoffs. High school playoffs. That was amazing. I believe our last game of my high school career, we played against, what's the school Robert Griffin went to? Oh my gosh, the high school.
Copper's Cove.
Harper's Cove,
Yeah.
playing them, being able to go out, all guns blazing. I mean, so many great memories. That's the thing. I mean, I've been to national championship. I played on Monday Night Football. I played with some of some great players, some Hall of Fame players, and those moments in high school, man, there's nothing like them.
Dude, that's super cool. So then the bus rides are fun.
Yeah.
The recruiting had to be fun.
Yeah, Scream's amazing. I still have a tub. I have a tub with 3,000 letters in it stuck in my mom's office. I mean, all of the carpet underneath the tub is gone. It's heavy. It'll probably crack if we picked it up.
Right.
So that attention and being able to get that prior to social media, I think we were the first class, one of the first classes to experience MySpace.
Yeah.
Little
Oh,
things
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. So we started the little hats and switching it up and all the little forums that came on the internet. So it was crazy, man. It was still an amazing experience without all of the NIL and the things to come.
Now, as being that highly recruited, I don't know how much you pay attention to it now, but what advice would you give kids now? You've been through it 10 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
but it can be overwhelming, and then the NIL that comes through and the portal, it's all changed. What advice would you give kids now? You got little kids, they got some time.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. Even my kids asked Daddy about the Tiger at LSU already. I would say there's value in tradition, there's value in culture. I had the opportunity to leave LSU a few times.
Yeah.
I went through the ups and downs of being a student athlete, especially with coming into college with so much notoriety and attention. I had plenty of schools pulling, and I could have left. But fast forward now, I had a 7-year NFL career, retired because of the growth of my startup, now business. The school wants to see me succeed. We're expanding to Louisiana because of my loyalty and connection with LSU and just the alums. So I really encourage guys to get into the environment that you feel just the most comfort, the environment where you see, I can expand my network, I can grow,
Yeah.
and I can meet new people. So I encourage guys to ride the wave, is what I say, because it's going to be a wave, a ride wherever you go. But ride the wave, enjoy it, embrace it. Go to a place where if football, if basketball, if volleyball was to stop, you can see yourself enjoying it and staying there.
So you go there. What was the transition like from being the guy in Texas or the nation recruiting wise to now you get to LSU and there's dogs just everywhere?
Everywhere.
And you're like, what is this? What was that adjustment like?
It was very, I went to LSU because of the competitive, nature. SEC, the school just won the national championship 2 years prior. We had people in my recruiting class. We had a #1 recruiting class in the country, and the recruiting class behind us, had people like Tyrann Mathieu, Eric Reed. Recruiting class behind them, we had Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry. I mean, before me, Patrick Peterson. It's just very competitive environment. Louisiana high school football as well too is it's a quality football.
Oh yeah.
They don't have the volume we have and the resources, but very great football players. So going to those camps, meeting those guys, spending time in that state since they recruited me and my girlfriend was there, I got a lot of respect for it. So I loved it. I embraced it. It definitely was a humbling experience going from a top 5-star #1 player in the state of Texas to being a backup from time to time throughout my career, and not just having the opportunity to touch as many balls, knowing that we would run first team. So it was a definitely experience, but it definitely helped me transition to the professional game and helped me embrace and embody being a leader and a special team guy.
That was the thing because, some people, when they're getting recruited, they are probably sold all kind of stuff. Oh, you're going to do this, that, and the other. You were probably went in there thinking, hey, I'm playing quarterback. You ended up playing receiver.
Right.
And it's kind of like when you're choosing a school, you got to choose what I guess you feel is home. I don't know if it's the coach that you choose, but it's just maybe the fit because you go there and you really don't end up playing quarterback. It transitioned into a receiver. How hard was that?
Yeah. So, with me, it wasn't even a forced thing. We were going to We playing Penn State in Orlando, Capital One Bowl, my freshman year, I believe. And throughout that time, I experienced the NFL draft. Going to the school, I went into school early. I left the second semester of my senior year, and I got to see Brandon LaFell get drafted. I got to see other,
Yeah.
skill guys get drafted, and we didn't have one quarterback. Not even sign an undrafted free agent
Right.
deal. So me being a businessman early on and understanding just I can increase my chances of, expanding this game for me, the lifespan, I made the decision with Coach Miles and the staff. I went to him, say, Coach, I think I want to embrace the Percy Harvin role. I want to be kind of a multi,
Yeah.
role guy and be able to contribute in different ways. And that's what I did. They brought in Billy Gonzalez, who's with Percy Harvin, prior to the next offseason. And, the school, as well as the coaching staff, they tried to transition and adapt to, figuring out ways to get me the ball and get
Yeah.
me involved. But, when you got Charles Scott, when you got Keelan Williams, Trenton Holiday, I mean, the list goes on, talented runners that we've had throughout my time. It just made it hard to kind of spread the ball out and just start picking people away.
Yeah.
So
And back in then,
no,
LSU did nothing but run the ball.
no.
For the-
That's
for the
what kind
most-
of hurt me this past week is, a rainy game in Death Valley, 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
Oh, we win
Right.
our old style of play. But now with the way we distribute the ball and the way we move the ball, those elements become somewhat of a challenge to us.
Have you always had a business acumen? Because you're thinking already, kids aren't thinking that when they're in college and they're thinking, hey, LSU hadn't really had a quarterback, but they've had a ton of receivers go. Have you always had that foresight of your future from the business angle? And where do you get that from?
Well, I come from two entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
My mom, she's been in both in corporate America and she's helped my dad start his. He's a serial entrepreneur. So, like I said, my mom, watching her kind of climb up medical practices and work on the HR department and just kind of deal with people. I kind of got the feel for what it takes to run a company from an admin, an inside point. And then my dad being the hands-on guy he is and being a tradesman, whether it's driving dump trucks, 18-wheelers, installation work,
Mm-hmm.
AC work, just kind of watch him just kind of add so many different things to him and constantly transition to different, phases and, just kind of adapt. So those two things, it definitely made an impact on me from an entrepreneur standpoint and understanding what to do with, money, time, resources. But it also helped me too just adapt and embrace the special teams role.
Yeah.
I mean, I went from, in 4 years, I went from hopefully being the number one pick in the draft as a QB to, being, I had to make the team every year in the NFL. It
Mm-hmm.
was a very humbling, a very, one of the greatest learning curves, growths I've been throughout my time because that's what actually helped propel me into the NFL and helped me, kind of stay in.
Was McGahee there back then?
Yeah. So Thomas McGahee,
Yeah.
crazy story about T-Mac.
T-Mac had a son also
Had a son.
that was around here that got
He
recruited.
got recruited, did really well. He
Yeah.
went to Conroe, went to a few other schools, ultimately went to U of H. Now he's on the sports marketing.
Mhm.
And he's on,
Yeah.
kind of doing what you're doing a little bit, trying to follow the lane. But T-Mac, so my senior year in high school, Thomas McGahee was actually coached by Gary Thiebaud, my head coach at the time,
Okay.
at Langham Creek.
Yeah.
So T-Mac was a player under Coach Thiebaud, and they always stayed in contact. So the year the Giants won the Super Bowl in 2007, Thomas McGahee heard about me. He was the assistant special team coordinator with the Giants, and he wrote me an old school letter. And Coach Thiebaud, my coach at the time at Cy Ridge, gave me a letter, and it was it was never had interactions or conversation with pro guys at that time.
Right.
It was all college. So, to see and know that a former alum, Cypress alum was in the NFL, won a Super Bowl, was supporting me from afar all the way in New York, it was always stuck in my mind. So fast forward, 4 years later, my junior year at LSU, he ends up being our special team coordinator.
Right.
He was my special team coordinator for 2 years straight. And obviously, me being a quarterback and this Percy Harvin role, when it's time to get drafted, you play any role. So he really did an amazing job of selling my story, my talents to a lot of pro scouts, pro personnel. And he was one of the leading factors into me getting an opportunity as an undrafted free agent. Um, then I don't have him for 2 more years. 4 years. I spent 4 years with Tampa. Was able to build a good foundation, a great name, being with that organization. And when I had the opportunity to be a starter, to have my contract season with the injury to Vincent Jackson, had a great year, played well. T-Mac was actually the coach who I ended up signing with going into my 5th year in the league.
At New York?
No, not in New York, with the Carolina Panthers.
Oh, dude.
So as an undrafted free agent, he helped me kind of get, make my way and get opportunity with some teams. And then when I actually, had a great season, was up for, a new contract, he played a part into me getting my deal, getting my second chance at it, being drafted and being able to kind of get a good financial gain. And then I was able to finish my career with him my last 2 years with the Giants. So it's amazing.
So that's so cool because like people don't think of like kids especially.
Yeah.
They have what we call they have contact capital.
Right.
So you had all these high school coaches, college coaches, and one guy kind of connects you and then helps you get to the league.
100%.
But people don't think about how important your contact capital is, meaning your inner circle or your circle that is way more vast than you even think.
Definitely. It's full circle. And then T-Mac went to school with my mom. They went to high school together. So this is a guy that went to school with my mom. My mom was a young parent.
Yeah.
So he knew me when I was a baby, and he seen me in high school, and then he had an opportunity to coach me in college, help me out in college, and then in the pros we had the opportunity to be co-workers, because that's what it is in the league. When you coaches and players in pro sports, we're more co-workers than the traditional, I'm your coach, I'm your player. So it's just full circle moment.
Okay, best atmosphere in college.
Oh, hands
outside of LSU. You're like when the schedule comes out, where did you like this is gonna be a live game?
Athens is an amazing place to play.
Yeah.
We had opportunity to play in Washington my freshman year.
That was super fun. I went to that game.
That was an amazing experience. Yeah. The stadium's off the lake, great experience. Texas A&M, we were one of the first SEC teams to play. And then when they were in the SEC that first year, my senior year, that was a great environment. That was prior to the expansion and what they've done now. So I can only imagine what it is now.
Right.
Any place in the SEC, it's been an amazing experience. But I would definitely say Athens, playing in that environment is probably second to none.
Worst fans?
Worst fans. That's a
just roughest fans.
That's a great one. I mean, you probably have to go with Alabama. You hit that Roll Tide everywhere. That kind of irks me a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. Now I have a daughter there, and she gives that to me, and it's very annoying.
They're great.
Florida fans, not that great.
No, yeah, not so much. They can get, there's not too much to do in where's that little
Gainesville.
Gainesville,
yeah.
Exactly. But Florida was a great experience. We actually had some crazy moments in Florida with the kicks thrown behind our heads and all that stuff. Great experience.
What about so then the transition from college to pro was what? How do you define how looking back, like how would you define that?
To me, how I define that is becoming as we call it, a pros pro, learning how to be a pros pro.
Yeah.
Because now it's a job. Being able to be prepared, being able to present, to hold yourself accountable. The problem solving is at a higher, the intensity that comes with solving problems at that level are much more intense. They need to be done at a certain time in a certain way. So I think a lot of guys, they get to the professional level and they have the talent, but not being able to transition into that pros pro.
Yeah.
That's what it hinders a lot of guys' growth in the league, and it cuts a lot of guys years short.
And especially like going from high school to college, you got to learn the playbook. If you're not in the playbook, I mean, you could be a great athlete,
Yeah.
but you still got to know the playbook. And then it's got to be more intense going to college. And then it's kind of weird because you're not like you're an adult at that
Yes,
point.
yes.
They're not like you don't have to be at study hall.
No,
You don't have
definitely.
you live in.
Yeah, you're living. And then a lot of guys, I mean, in college, you're still able to physical talent. If you got a handful of great players,
Right.
you can dominate.
Yeah.
In the NFL, everybody's Mr. Mac, all SEC, freshman All American. I mean, even the ones who don't have the accolades like myself, I still was one of the better athletes on every NFL team I was on.
Right.
Just my background and just my God-given abilities. So it becomes less about the physical talent and more about the confidence. You walk a thin line between being cocky and confident. Some, the ones who can stay close to that line without crossing it, they tend to move on and be able to just maintain that confidence as they ride their wave. And then the ones who understand, how to grow and become a responsible employee. That's what the Tyrann Matthew has done, and he's been able to have a beautiful career.
Man, that dude, he might be my all-time favorite.
He's my all-time favorite player of all time.
Good gosh,
and he's younger than me.
So what hurts the most? Because it takes a toll on your body, dude.
Yes.
What hurts?
I was fortunate enough to. I've had one
being super injured.
Never been injured too much. That was one of my superpowers while I was playing pro sports. I was always active. I was always available. I had a sesamoid removed from my right toe. That was the only surgery I had in all of my sports journey. So I would probably say my feet hurt the most.
Yeah.
Being a former receiver, special teams guy, but I was able to avoid the knee injuries, the head injuries, the trauma that comes with just being a football player.
Another Lame Creek guy, Bert Emanuel, played in the league a long time, and he's old like me.
Yeah.
He's walking around. I'm like, Bert, you look like you're in it. He goes, bro, my hands hurt, my elbows hurt, everything hurts.
Yeah.
But some people you're right, escape that injury bug, call it.
Well, for me, example, I'm a special team guy.
Yeah.
I'm a special team guy. It's 85% of my resume. And I did it well, and I had very proud of my time in the league as a teams guy. On average, I'm playing anywhere from 12 to 20 snaps a game.
Yeah.
So my body is not taking as much. Now, we had high volume contact when we did play.
That's what you call it?
Yeah.
High volume? I call it a car accident.
Car accident, right. We had that. But throughout my time in the NFL, the game started to really favor our mental, the contact.
Yeah.
Like I said, I seen it change. I remember we had one teammate in particular, Hawk. I don't forget his whole name, but he was with Tampa with me. He was a free safety. Deshaun Golston. Golston. We called him Hawk. This was when they started to protect the pass catcher, and I watched him one time get fined $275,000. Because he just was multiple offender and things like that.
Yeah.
So I watched the game change. I was one of the few guys that seen it. We didn't have two-a-days when I got to the NFL. That helps save your body, maintain it. When I got to the league, they were calling us soft because we were probably the third rookie class to not experience two-a-days. So it has some benefits to it.
Do y'all do you like where the college game's going?
I think it is needed what's going on. I think it is as wild as the Wild Wild West right now.
Yeah.
I think as time goes on, teams, players, they'll figure out how to control it, corral it, and get it together. I come from the era where you go into a jersey or you look in the stadium and you see, 10,000 number 10, jerseys.
Yeah.
That over a period of time that didn't manifest well for people like myself or the people that didn't go on to have an NFL career, but who are household names in college. So I love to see the guys, as I say, getting money, being able to monetize and take advantage of their brand. But as there got to be some changes, some things to get it to the point where it doesn't saturate or water down what college football is really about.
What would be your brand? What would you when you were that age? Would you be like, I want to? This is my NIL right here.
I would probably say at that point in time when I was coming into school. Oh man, that's a great question, man. Brother, As crazy as it sounds, man, walk-ons was
It
brand
was
spanking new when I
yeah,
got to campus.
yeah,
So, watching that in the business, the entrepreneur in me at the time, it was beautiful to see. At that point, when I got to school, they had one location.
yeah.
I think they opened a second location before I left LSU in New Orleans, and I believe now they're probably in probably like 50 plus locations throughout the Southeast region. So
Killing it.
they're doing an amazing job. I mean, even some former Tigers, the Matt Flynn's, the Craig Stelts,
Yeah.
these guys are minority partners in some branches in different markets.
What about like when you look back, who was they're just built different in the pros or in
Mm.
college. Just like when you see this guy come in a room, you know this guy's a super athlete, super leader, super stud.
I got three guys, and they're from three different eras. Patrick Peterson was the first NFL player I ever seen.
Yeah.
Flawless. I mean, he still to this day is one of the first guys I see get drafted and didn't have a negative comment about him.
Right.
And again, he was a pro's pro
Yeah.
at an early age. So Patrick Peterson was kind of the first one I seen that he was built different, and he came into college pretty much ready to go to the league. Odell, Odell. The beautiful thing about Odell is I was Odell's. I was hosted his official visit.
Right.
He still is like a younger brother to me. So watching he's always been a hard worker, and watching people like him and Jarvis Landry turn their hard work into amazing. It's like artistry. I mean, they were like painters out there. I've never seen anybody practice like Odell Beckham.
Wow.
And I had the privilege of playing with him as well in the NFL
Yeah.
with the Giants. And watching him practice, along with the Tyrann Matthew of the world, they do all these things in practice. They practice with a high tempo. They're one of the first people that I've seen that, you practice how you play. And it truly, translated to the field. It was a beautiful thing just to watch those guys make those plays and play with that
Yeah.
tempo. Because college is, practice is practice. You heard the Allen Iverson thing, practice.
Right.
The last guy I would probably say it's been a beautiful watching him grow and watching him turn into who he is Daniil Hunter. Daniil Hunter
Morton
is
Ranch High School, right now.
Morton Ranch High School, came to LSU really raw. Only played 2 years of football at that point in
Dude,
time.
long, always a weightlifter.
Always a weightlifter, strong guy.
Yeah.
He's a Caribbean child, so very strong, very just athletically,
Mhm.
just blessed. But Daniil is probably going to be one of the most successful defensive linemen to ever come through LSU in terms of pros.
I mean, he goes to Minnesota, kills it, gets
Yeah.
big contract,
Yeah.
comes to Houston,
Kill him.
and doing
Kill him.
it here also, man. It's just, and it's cool because you don't ever hear a peep out of him.
And very mild mannered, doesn't say too much.
Yeah.
Different personalities, but he gives off Kyle Williams like.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I think Daniil's probably gonna play for another 5-6 years and make $200 million.
And it might be his body's so
Yeah.
in shape, or he just takes. I mean, you got to take care of your
Yeah,
body
yeah,
at that level.
Yeah. Again,
I mean, there's not going to Chick-fil-A every day
no.
eating chicken minis. Like,
He's a pro. He takes
Yeah.
care of himself. He invests in his body.
yeah,
Stays out the way. Doesn't put a lick of liquor or any
Yeah.
type of substance in his body. He's a really good person.
toughest place to play in the NFL. What is the? Because look, I go to
Mm.
NFL games and I've been all throughout the SEC. I'm like, man, there's no vibe at an NFL game.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
the Texans is just
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
boring, man.
And it's surprising.
Yeah.
It's surprising knowing the Texans Stadium.
Maybe it's the old like Green Bays and the
Yeah.
New York.
Yeah. But even those places are very mellow. Obviously the elements, the style of people. The craziest places I played in, you obviously got that crazy place in New Orleans. That place gets. I played.
Wow.
Superdome is second to none. That's probably one of the closest things you're going to get to a college experience. It's a dome. It's closed. Rowdy people. I had the privilege of losing to them 3 times in one season. The year I went to Carolina, we played them twice in the division, and then we played them in the wild card, the first game of the playoffs, and we lost to them 3 times. So that place was crazy. Arrowhead.
Oh yeah, Kansas City.
Amazing. I had the privilege of playing there my 4th year in Tampa, and Eric Berry was still playing. Alex Smith was the quarterback. That was my first time being in Kansas City and my first time going to Arrowhead. It's in the middle of nowhere. You drive probably about 10, 15 miles, just pasture, nothing. You can't see nothing as far as
Boom.
you look, and then this beautiful, massive stadium. It just that was crazy. Yeah, those two places are crazy. Heinz Field was special.
Yeah.
Caught my first NFL catch there. Got tackled by Troy Polamalu.
Yeah.
Said his
Didn't feel
name.
great, probably.
It was amazing feeling. It was amazing. I mean,
Just feels
the
great.
man tackled
I'm
me.
here.
The man tackled me, and I got up and I shook his hand. It was just because again, that was like I mean, I watched this man my whole
Yeah.
high school kid career, so it was a very, very full circle moment.
Who are you starting? Um, who are you building your fantasy football team around?
You know, I had the privilege to play against Tom Brady, and then I've had the privilege to play against and witness Patrick Mahomes. Um, those two men right there are they're obviously blessed. One's a
Yeah.
little more physically blessed than the other. One obviously has unwavering confidence and just will. But what I like about the two leaders are that they can get anybody to believe that we can do this.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the unspoken about talent with coaches and quarterbacks, great players, is getting others to believe in what the plan, what the one concept, the goal is, and getting everybody on ship. That's what Big Red, Andy Reid does.
Yeah.
You know, that's what some of the greatest leaders. It does. Sometimes it's a coach, sometimes it's a player. It's a mixture of both. But I would say probably I have to ride with Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady because those guys, man. I mean, Tom Brady. I was in Tampa for 4 years.
With him?
No, without him.
Oh, you live.
And the fact
yeah.
that he went
Yeah.
there in his first year and won a Super Bowl,
Blows your mind.
Tampa is a hard place to win. I mean, great,
Yeah.
great environment. It's the beach. The city, I mean, they can care less if you win or lose.
Right.
Everybody's at the beach. It's a retirement, you know, communing with people from Chicago, Cleveland. They really don't care too much. It's not Philly. It's not New York. So,
They got a pretty good receiver over there.
oh man,
Mike Evans
Yeah.
did it a long time over there.
long time. He did life big. You know, I'm
Yeah,
proud of Mike. Yeah, Mike's turned into a really good friend of mine, man.
Yeah.
He's one of my better friends. He was drafted my second year with Tampa. He
Yeah.
was one of our rookies, and you know, rest in peace, Vincent Jackson. But we learned a lot from Vincent Jackson, and you know, at that point in time, you know, just when you see these young guys,
Yeah.
you know, in their rookie years, you don't know what the next 10, 15 years will look like. And I mean, nobody, even Mikey, probably never thought that he would have such a Cinderella like.
Dude, what a wild career.
Amazing.
He's a
career.
hooper, man.
He's a hooper.
I'm not even sure he's that good a football player. He
Yeah.
was a really, really good hooper.
Yeah, that's man, so it's crazy. So we, you know, we
Mhm.
stayed down the street from each other and we started working out together. For his second year and obviously the rest of the time. And the guy doesn't do too many routes on air, lifting.
Yeah.
He's a basketball player. So, you know, we're at the basketball, we're playing 3-on-3, we're playing ones, we're playing 221. I mean, the guy has a full out basketball workout that he's transitioned and turned it into a hell of a football. I don't know. I don't know how to do it. But
Yeah, he's something else, dude. He's raw. He's
yeah.
super. Some of those people just like they can play anything. Like
Yeah.
tight ends right now
Yeah, they're
can play
very-
basketball.
they're
They can
very-
do whatever.
Yeah.
So you transition into the real world.
Yes, sir.
But I read something. It struck me as interesting. You were tired of football.
Yeah.
You're tired of football, and you're like, hey, let's start a trash
Yes.
or
Whatever
a
business.
new business
Yeah. So I was
during the pandemic.
Yeah, the pandemic. I was in Manhattan, and I was eating with my wife, and man, we were out the night before trash, and just so much trash. And I went back to the city to I had to do a medical checkup on my foot. I had
Yeah.
a Lisfranc injury that ended my season a little bit early that year, and so when I went back to the city the next day, all the trash was gone. So I just had this crazy idea. I was like, man, look, if football doesn't work out, when I start something else, let me look into this. So pandemic happened a few months later. I didn't think we were gonna have a season. At that point, I was supposed to sign with the Baltimore Ravens. They were working me and Des Bryant out,
Mm-hmm.
and I was kind of somewhat the favor because they were looking for a teams guy,
Yeah.
locker room guy. So 2 days before I was supposed to go out and live in a hotel for a week so I can get my COVID test and do my workout,
Right.
I decided to retire and focus on starting my now waste business, Shep Boys. Yeah, man, I thought I was gonna start a trash company
Mhm.
and deal with trash, And I actually had a mentor that's from the Cypress area, John Farley. He started a company called Zeters. And I went to John and said, John, I'm getting burnt out on ball. I seen all this trash in the city. Give me some direction. And he said, hey, you need to start a porta potty company.
Yeah.
I was like, what? You want me to deal with
That is
with poop?
Yeah.
So, you know, man, after just doing my research, you know, we had so much time on our hands with COVID. Everybody was in the house, and everything was kind of falling off my list. I wanted to be a sports agent. That was my number one.
Mm-hmm.
I went to the combine. I met with the NFL. I was taking my test. I wanted to be this real estate developer. I'm an active investor in triple net releases, you know, commercial properties. That kind of went away. People weren't paying rent. People weren't going out to eat. And the last thing at the bottom, after all these things, even I got an opportunity to be on a scouting staff in the NFL, and be a player personnel rep. I turned that down because, again, I didn't think we were going to have a season. So the bottom, the portable restroom companies were there. I decided to give it a try out, and it just took off.
Wow.
Took off to the point where I called Coach Harbaugh a day before I was supposed to be on the flight to Baltimore. Said, Coach, I'm about to retire. He said, Russell, what are you about to do? I said, you about to start training camp. What the hell is wrong with you? I said, Coach, I'm about to drive a shit truck around. He says, Russell, what? You about to? He says, you know what? You seem like you're confident in it. I wish you the best. Hung up the phone. And from that point, man, I was full throttle Shep Boys.
That's wild. And now it's grown into different locations. And now it seems like you're transitioning from being that locker room guy to being a great leader, manager of people. That's hard to do.
Very much so.
You got to be a people person, but understand other people's pain points as well.
Definitely. And I come from a locker room where everybody's kind of highly driven.
Yeah.
Even your laziest guys on the NFL team are very driven.
Right.
You know, you got to be somewhat driven to get to that point, you know. So it's been my first few years in the management role and being able to work and put people in a position to succeed, somewhat coach or a GM type role, it's been it was a hell of a transition for me. It was great growth. It was a lot of growth, a lot of humbling, and trying to figure out ways to put people in good positions to win. But it's been a huge success. I mean, to this date, we have 10 trucks on the road, 6 days a week. We just opened up our Baton Rouge location. We have 2,000 rentable items out in the Harris County, you know, area, and we're looking to expand this into the just a full-out regional, Southeast regional company. So we're excited.
People pay a lot of money for trash companies.
100%.
Holy cow, man.
Yeah, we've been approached 4 times to be acquired. The company is young, and we got approached our first offer letter within 9 months of the company's existence. So that's kind of why I knew I was in the right direction. And at that point, I was still driving the truck. You know, I went from being in, you know, 5-star hotels, traveling on commercial air flights every week, to now I'm driving a portable restroom truck every day in my community where people recognize me, they know me. So once we got the offer letter and I seen, oh, this is what we've got, I kind of stuck with it. It's been an amazing thing.
4 kids under the age of 9 and a new company.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a lot, man. It's you know, one thing about being in pro sports, being able to be a part of, you know, seeing growth through other things like yourself, your company, and a lot of other people in my life, you know, you have to embrace being uncomfortable. That's one thing that I've chose to embody. It's been the key factor into me being able to stay at LSU through my ups and downs, to me going to the NFL, really not having a chance in hell, being an undrafted free agent, and being able to carve out a great career. I still got great relationships with the Giants organization, Tampa, Carolina. It's just been an amazing thing because they see the fact that I embody this being different, leadership, first, lead by example. All these things go a long way.
All right. Hey, high schoolers, college, I hope they're hearing this. Man, what a story. Again, one of the, you know, greatest players to come out of the city of Houston, Russell Shepard from Cy Ridge, to LSU, to the pros, to 4 kids, to a multi-million-dollar trash business. That's a story, my guy. That's a book. I've written a book. Let's write a book.
Man, I can't keep up. I read your book too. It's a great book, by the way, man. But it's been, man, humbling. Like I said, watching you. Proud of you. I know you give a lot of people their flowers, but I mean, I watched this thing Start with a vision. And from afar, man, you've turned it into an amazing, a multi-million-dollar operation, and it's just beautiful. Outside of just the business aspect, you're giving people a opportunity to kind of, put their talents, their resume, their hard work on your platform, and it's just beautiful, man.
Thank you so much. Hey, what did you think when Slim Thug
Yeah.
pulled up to our first ever? That's the
Yeah.
first ever
Yeah.
magazine
Yes.
that you were on the cover.
Yeah, yeah, Slim.
And I didn't even really. Paul Wall was supposed to be there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they call me,
Uh-huh.
Dash from Swisher House Records, because
yeah.
I
Yeah.
think this is even before cell phones. You're
Yeah,
like,
it was.
he can't make it. He's
Yeah.
in Las Vegas, but I got another guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, cool. And he shows up, and I was like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good. This is gonna be real good.
That was cool, man. My dad and him, they remain friends after that. So my dad and him still talk to this day. And he always refers to, man, even that time I went with your son to this. It's just, again, full circle thing, man. It's just beautiful to see, man.
And it's also cool. I was at the McDonald's All-Star game for the girls in Houston.
Okay.
And I'm sitting down, and this guy sits right next to me, and we get to talking, and it's Slim Thug's son who plays baseball,
Yes.
and he plays at the Bo Porter Academy, and now he's trying to play in college or minor league career, and he's huge.
Yeah, he is.
He is huge.
Yeah. All his kids, man. He got another one, I think, that's about it's about 6'6", 6'7" right now.
I think he has a daughter also that plays volleyball or basketball as well, but man, well, hey, this is a legend. The legend of Houston, the legend of Russell Shepard. You got the story now. All right, hey, this is Matt with VYPE. Russell Shepard. We'll see y'all at the game.
Yes, sir. Go Tigers.